Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas. And I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danni D, and I am here helping small business owners, women in business, creatives, professional women, to get to the place where they are living their success story, whatever that story looks like, whatever that personal success story looks like, so that they can have a life that is both fulfilled and that has joy. So that's what we're here talking about, ways that we can get to that place where we are living um, our best life, right? That we are really enjoying what's going on in our life and that our businesses or our careers are not taking the forefront, is not, they're not um, taking over what our lives look like. So today I wanted to talk to you about it's actually interesting. I was listening to another podcast last week. A family member sent me a link to this podcast, and the podcast was talking about overachieving kids, and how they are a at-risk group because of the pressure of overachieving. And so I have a a teenage son, definitely, well, they didn't call it overachievers, it's high achievers. I have a teenage son, definitely a high achiever, so of course it was of interest to me. But I was listening to the podcast in two ways. One, as a mother, and two, as a coach. So as a mother, I heard certain things, and of course, had a conversation with my son to kind of do a check-in of how he was doing and navigating those things. And anybody who knows anything about Noah, he's very nonchalant. So his response was really one of, do I seem stressed? Because you keep asking me if I'm okay, or telling me that it's okay not to be perfect, right? So put that on the shelf, because I was just annoying him. But as I got deeper into thinking about it and thinking about how it affects us as adults, how as adults do we get caught up in this high achiever and then overachiever narrative. And one of the things that the the guest on the podcast was talking about was the fact that as high achievers, these kids start to connect their identity to their performance. And that made me think about a lot of the women that I work with. It made me think about myself. That made me think about how we start getting so tied to who we are professionally that we lose sight of who we are holistically. And I think that that's part of the reason why, this whole, work with ease and creating your personal success story movement is so important to me, because we do get to that point where, it's all about the fact that I am this, this professional thing. I am the best, doctor, lawyer, seamstress, balloon artist. I am this thing. And that then becomes my identity. And A lot of times when I first start working with someone and I start asking the questions around what do they want that life to look like? What is your, I have succeeded life look like? And people struggle with that. Or what do you want? What do you want out of the business? What do you want out of life? People struggle with that question. And the main reason why is because become so connected to what we do professionally being our identity. Excuse me. And so one of the things that the lady that was the guest on this podcast episode was saying for the kids to, for you to kind of counter this in your kids is to help them connect worth to something else. So, for example, one of the best examples that she gave was to pour into another person. So, for instance, you go to the coffee house in the morning and you get your cup of coffee and you share with that person that you see every morning because you're there every morning. Um, you know what? You are a bright spot in my morning. Share how other people have impacted you or share a compliment, feed into someone else because it's going to do two things. One, it's going to help that person because now that person sees value in themselves, even though that is their job working at the coffee house, but they see value in the fact that there's something unique about them that makes you happy, makes you excited to get up in the morning because you know you're going to see this pleasant face, or maybe they, always have a kind word or whatever it is. But now you've poured into them, but in pouring into someone else, that gives you additional feeling of worth because you did something good and valuable today. And it had absolutely nothing to do with what you do professionally. So I just wanted to share that because I know a lot of times, when we're looking at our emotions and our ebbs and flows, business is going to go up, business is going to go down. You're going to have some really good days, you're going to have some really bad days, and you'll have some in between days, right? But we don't want to be, always going on that emotional roller coaster personally because of what's going on in the business. Or right now, I don't know if you're seeing it locally where you are. I'm seeing it, a lot locally here and greater, greater than just locally, but small businesses are struggling right now. And so I've seen a lot of businesses in my local area slow down or shut down. And every time I see that, my heart goes out because, if you're a business owner, you know the struggle. You know the struggle, and you know that no matter how hard you try, no matter how good, your product, your customer service, no, you can do all the right things and things not go well because of economy or other circumstances. And I don't want to dwell there because I don't want to put people in negative headspace, but I'm saying that to say, if you don't have anything to connect to outside of what you do professionally, those moments can be much more devastating than they already are. Because I mean, if we're being honest, that's hard. That's a hard thing to face. That's a hard moment to sit in, right? But we have to know that circumstance, because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is circumstance. That circumstance does not define us. That thing didn't work out. And that may not even be long term, it may be temporary. But that thing didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that we failed or that, we are not worthy or, that there's something wrong with us. It just It was a thing that happened, and things happen to people. Things happen to people who are doing all the right things sometimes. So we want to think about what does, our full picture look like? Because even in success, right? If we don't have that view of full picture, there are a lot of people that are, at the height of the height of the height, and they're not feeling good because they're not addressing the fullness of themselves, right? So they may be, doing all the right things, checking all the right boxes, having all of the success, but then there's a void there. And that's where, you're seeing a lot of people try to make some shifts, and from the outside, hey, they look like they are winning. They're winning, but they want to make a shift because it doesn't feel feel fulfilling in the inside. It doesn't um it's not feeding their soul because again, it's solely focused on just one part of who they are. So let's look at ourselves more holistically. Let's look at what is it that we want out of life? Not just our business, not just our career path, but what do we want our whole life to look like? What do we want that holistic experience to be like? What are the other goals that matter to us besides the business or the profession? And then once we know what we want the whole picture to look like, then we can start working our way towards making that success story come true and making sure that we are, not just, hyper successful over here and neglecting all of these other things over here. So let's, rise in those areas together, make those things come together in a way that makes sense so that we are truly feeling our success. Because once you create your personal success story, then all of a sudden, when you are succeeding, you feel it hits different, and it's not just purely based on certain metrics because uh, you know again, a lot of times when you don't hit that metric in that one area, all of a sudden it deflates your self-esteem because you don't feel like, I should be at this point, or I should be doing this thing. I should have hit this number. And you don't realize, you know what? I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. I'm doing multiple things to grow myself in multiple areas. And sometimes that might mean, hey, I might not be the top producer, but I'm up there. I'm doing what I need to do to stay relevant and successful in my business, but I'm also present with my family. I'm also able to explore some other things that bring me joy. Maybe I have, professional goals, and then I have purpose goals. And so I'm able to juggle both of those things because I've made a decision of, the importance of all of those things as a collective. So I want you to start thinking about that. What is my success story? What do I want? What gives me value and purpose outside of being a high achiever? Because if you have been a high achiever, if you are, especially if you've been an overachiever, that's gonna start that becomes natural. You don't it's almost like you don't know how to turn that off. That's going to do what it needs to do, but it doesn't need any more energy, right? You always want to perform in excellence, but it doesn't need any more energy. You've been doing that for so long, you can do that in your sleep. So how do you bring that same level of tenacity to the other areas of your life? How do you make sure that you are feeding your soul and your worth? Because again, you can change jobs, you can, you know, you may win an, opportunity, award, scholarship, um, whatever that may be, but you may not. There may be someone that aces you out. But what makes you valuable? Because we all are valuable. What makes you valuable outside of your performance of a career or of a profession, a business? What makes you valuable? So that's my assignment for you is to go sit and I want you to write about what makes you valuable. What makes you valuable? Um, Feel free to share if you want to share. You can always inbox me or message me to talk about it further. But what makes you valuable outside of performing the work that you do? What makes you valuable? It may be that you're a good friend. It may be that you are a great listening ear. You might be the person that makes everybody laugh and, smile. You might be the person that is making sure everybody's okay. What's that thing that makes you valuable that has absolutely nothing to do with what you do for a living? Okay, that's what I got for you. Think about it. Um, what's going on in the world of workflow. Of course, I've talked to you about the success journal that is out there. Today is the last day of the fall enrollment in the Own Your Business Academy. So if you are looking to get those foundational pieces to make sure your business is running smoothly and excelling, then you want to get into that academy so that you can, it's a 6 month semester, you can get the knowledge that you need to start to get everything in order. It is great if you are going to be doing those things yourself, if you're in that position, but it's also great for you to have that knowledge so that if you're hiring people in any of these areas that you have base knowledge to know what you're hiring people to do, right? Okay, so that's one thing that I want you to definitely look into. Also, October 1st starts the um, automation workshop. So, Work with Ease Automation Workshop. We will be covering how to get your operations in order, make sure you have processes in place, make sure you have your systems and automate what you can automate so that you can free up your time so that you can focus on growing the business instead of working constantly in the business. We have that coming up. And we also have the Capable Confident Challenge. I haven't been really promoting that one as much, but that is coming up as well. So if you are in a position where you need to work on that part of yourself that needs to get out there, that really needs to get out there and stand 10 toes down and say, this is what I do and this is why I do it and I'm great at it, and get out of your own head about why not you. Stop feeling like, well, that other person is better, stronger, more knowledgeable, comes from a different background. It's all irrelevant. You have an assignment that you were given, and you have everything within you to be that great person. So let's peel back all of the nonsense that is keeping you from seeing, being, and acting in that way. So that's what we do in the Capable Confident Challenge. Um, I think that's it for now, but I will put all of the details for all of those things in the show notes, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at CoachDanniD.com.